Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years.
This is how you know the level of power and influence someone has. British broadcaster Piers Morgan is known for being very opinionated over many issues and topics. He has been doing his show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, for years now, and he's had on air whistleblower Jaguar Wright. Stay tuned as we dissect what went down between Piers Morgan, Jaguar Wright, and Jay-Z. Welcome to your one-stop hub for global news, sports, finance, and celebrity gossip. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a beat. This is your celebrity news. Piers Morgan featured Jaguar Wright on his show Piers Morgan Uncensored to talk about Sean Diddy Combs' recent arrest. Jaguar Wright, known for her controversial opinions, often highlights the darker aspects of the music industry and Hollywood altogether. Whether her claims about Diddy and Jay-Z and probably other celebrities are accurate or not, this episode is not intended to challenge any of those claims. That said, during the interview with Piers Morgan, Jaguar Wright alleged that both Jay-Z and Beyonce have hundreds of victims. She said, and we quote, "For 4 years, I've been calling out not just Diddy, but also Diddy and Jay-Z as monsters." Take note, this is not the first time Jaguar Wright is making these allegations. But why is Jay-Z's lawyer currently replying back or speaking out openly about this? We're about to find out. As you already know, Sean Diddy Combs is good friends with Jay-Z. Diddy is currently indicted for, sex trafficking, racketeering, and some other shenanigans. The fact that Jaguar Wright is currently making the claims that Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce are in cahoots with Diddy and his wrongdoings. If Jay-Z's camp were to let it go, it would definitely ruin their brand severely. And that is the reason why Jay-Z and and Beyonce have put their lawyer on the case to shut it down completely. The sooner it is shut down, the sooner less people will get to start talking about some things that are either true or not true, and awakening other, long gone stories that they may or may not have been involved in. Piers Morgan's channel is legitimate and established. By having Jaguar on there, legitimizes Jaguar, meaning it allows other established channels, even bigger than Piers Morgan's channel, to welcome Jaguar on their channel, to give her the platform to speak on the things that she knows about Jay-Z and Beyonce. So you can only imagine how big this could get if Jay-Z and Beyonce don't shut it down quickly. Now, let's go to the possible reasons why Piers Morgan has rescinded his interview with Jaguar. When we looked at the story, Piers Morgan over the years has been extremely controversial himself. He's had no reserve in talking about issues that are rather sensitive, touchy, you name it. This guy gets in the mud when it comes to having an opinion about things. This story particularly, the allegations that Jaguar Wright is actually making, definitely is raising eyebrows, and Piers Morgan would like to explore that for his channel and even hopefully exploit it in a way that it actually helps increase his channel. After all, that's what every broadcaster is looking for, to grow their channel. And Piers Morgan is no different than any other broadcaster. So by having Jaguar Wright on his channel is a way for him to kind of branch out to what's currently happening in the Diddy case, And on the channel, if you watch that episode with Jaguar, right, and we believe what's his name, Vlad from Vlad TV was also on that panel. Piers Morgan definitely gaslit Jaguar, right, and also kind of like maneuvered extremely in a very slick way to get what he needs to get without getting really too sticky. The only person here that's getting all the flack is really what Jaguar Wright said. But let's not forget that Piers Morgan also has a way of asking questions that makes the conversation go in a certain direction to kind of like draw exactly what it's supposed to draw, more viewers. We ask ourselves, why would Piers Morgan accept to take down the video? And the only thing we've come down to is money. Who is currently financing Piers Morgan's YouTube channel? It turns out it's Rupert Murdoch. And Rupert Murdoch is known for being a gigantic, brand name when it comes to broadcasting in general. And people that have lost deals by big names backing them, etc., have really gone downhill because it takes a lot of resources to have a successful channel on YouTube. A lot of people talk, crap about YouTubers, but it takes a whole lot of resources to have a successful one. And Piers Morgan's show is a whole production. And losing every resources that actually is needed to help him come on air and look the way he looks good every single time, talking, crap about people most of the time, is a luxury. So Piers Morgan does not want to lose the privilege of having the backup of Rupert Murdoch, because Rupert Murdoch is the one that's feeding him. So beside the money aspect, behind it hides also the fact that Piers Morgan didn't back down because he's scared of the news. He backed down because we believe, and this is what we believe. He may have backed down because Rupert Murdoch empire got threatened to be sued over Piers Morgan having Jaguar Wright on his channel. So it's not so much Piers Morgan getting sued. It's Rupert Murdoch and Piers Morgan getting sued, but the biggest loser here would be Rupert Murdoch. So to avoid all that together, what happened? Piers Morgan's boss reached out to him and said, "Take it down. We don't want a lawsuit because Jay-Z and his camp have just reached out to us, requesting us to remove the video because the informations are baseless and are false." And for the first time ever in history, Piers Morgan actually took down the bits and pieces concerning the false allegations, allegedly, that Jaguar Wright made. Piers Morgan revealed that Jay-Z and Beyonce lawyers had reached out to him, stating that Jaguar Wright's allegations were completely false and baseless. Morgan took the issue on air and released a public apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce, reiterating Jaguar's claims against the couple are completely false and have no basis in fact. Piers Morgan would say, and we quote, "In today's world, everyone with a message has a platform if people are willing to listen, which is why we invited Jaguar Wright for an interview. Whether or not they appear on shows like mine, like Piers Morgan's, these individuals still have an audience." And Piers is right when he says that. Whether Jaguar Wright comes on his channel or not, Jaguar Wright is on other people's YouTube channel talking. So, and people watch those shows. Whether Piers Morgan shuts Jaguar Wright down now, it doesn't really matter. So long as Jaguar Wright runs her mouth on other channels, is as big as being on a big platform and as established as Piers Morgan Uncensored, which is true. The question is, why hasn't Jay-Z and Beyonce sued Jaguar Wright? Why are they taking action now? on Piers Morgan's show only? So that's a question we should be asking ourselves. Morgan also said that during the interview with Jaguar, she made unexpected and serious accusations against Jay-Z and Beyonce. And he said, and we quote, "As I mentioned at the time, they weren't there to defend themselves, but now they've responded. Their lawyers informed us that the claims were false, and we complied with a legal request to remove those portions from the interview." So that's Piers Morgan confirming they've taken down the bits and pieces of the interview relating to the false, baseless accusations. Piers would close his apology by saying the following, and we quote, "Editing interviews is not something we do lightly on a show called Uncensored. But, like shouting fire in a crowded theater, there are legal limits. So we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce." And this is all contradictory because stand on business, Piers Morgan. Is your show uncensored or censored? Stand on business. That's all we're saying. On Tuesday, October 9th, that would be yesterday, Piers Morgan apologizes on air. Take a listen to Piers Morgan apology from his own mouth.
The thing about platforms, the reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Now, the story doesn't end here. On Wednesday, Jay-Z and Beyonce's attorney, Alex Spiro, clarified to TMZ a few things. Because there's a lot of words in the street saying that, Jay-Z had sent a cease and desist to Piers Morgan. And he's clarifying that it wasn't a cease and desist order that they sent to Piers Morgan and company, but rather an ultimatum. Basically, the lawyer is saying the following, and we quote, "There's a difference between rumors and nonsense, and this goes beyond that. I told Morgan, remove the false accusations or a court will." Spiro also said to Morgan to make the right decision, noting that the false claims didn't just harm the Carters, but also silence real victims involved in an ongoing case that was simply too much. So what the lawyer is arguing is that, well, first, there are accusations that are baseless and false, so Piers Morgan and company should remove that. The other thing that the lawyer is saying is, well, the ongoing case right now, encouraging victims that have been abused by Diddy and, his wrongdoings and all that, by actually keeping or saying that Beyonce and Jay-Z are involved in those similar activities, allegedly, is actually harming the work that is currently being done, which is to encourage the victims to come forward to speak on what happened to them to get vindicated. So basically, the lawyer just, told Piers Morgan, you remove it or else you'll see what's going to happen to you. And it sounds like a bigger threat than anything. And it's the Carters we're talking about. It's Jay-Z and Beyonce, powerhouse. Take a listen to Spiro interview with a TMZ and we'll come back with our commentary.
This must have been shocking to you that somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations. Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something, and I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes. What changed here in my mind is that somebody on a so-called journalistic platform exploited that kind of random rumor mill, whether it's disconnected from reality or what have you, and lifted it up. And by doing that, they not only caused harm here, but they are also droning out the voices of real victims. And by doing that to get clicks, it didn't just harm the Carters. What he did effectively was to drone out the voices of actual victims in an ongoing case, in an ongoing investigation. And that was too much for me.
Are you in the process of making sure that it is taken down everywhere?
What I am here to say is that in a situation as serious as this, somebody who puts themselves out as a journalist should not effectively take advantage of the situation and exploit somebody in this way. And so that's the real reason for action.
Does it strike you a little bit that there's been a lot of silence in Hollywood in the wake of all of this?
Well, as to the Carters, I can tell you that when they put their foot down on something as they did here, they are sending a message. And if they can't stand up and make sure right from wrong, then who can?
What do you make of this, friends? It sounds like the Carters are not letting anyone play in their faces any longer. As long as Jaguar Wright keeps her commentaries on small media channels, they are okay, not speaking up about anything. But should Jaguar Wright make foul accusations as such on an established platforms, example, Piers Morgan Uncensored, the Carters, so Beyonce and Jay-Z, will go tooth for tooth, not with Jaguar Wright because she doesn't have any money, but with the channel that hosted her. And that gets more interesting. So Jay-Z and Beyonce, went after Piers Morgan because, again, Piers Morgan is backed by Rupert Murdoch, and we're talking about Rupert Murdoch is worth billions and billions of dollars. So obviously there's more money to be made there. There you have it. Let us know what you think about all this in the comment below. Every day there's a new element being added, and we have a new Diddy update as well, so we're gonna do another video about that in a separate episode. We love you for watching, truly, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.